Are you making assumptions that you shouldn't be making? I'm Jeannie Fuller, and I've been training in referrals for over 20 years now. In fact, over 25 years. And you know what? A lot of that time we were just putting training, trying to change actions, trying to change behavior to produce different results. And we never started with the thinking that governs the actions that produces the results. So Referrals for Profit is really cool because it starts with eliminating erroneous assumptions that over time have become very real. They become beliefs. They're actually illusions. So I'd like to show you a little example that happened with me with two different clients, and you'll see the power of starting with assumptions, and that's one of the reasons you'll want to get Referrals for Profit so that you can eliminate those bad assumptions and learn the little bitty nuances that will make referrals increase your profits. Here are the slides.
So here's our Mr. Baseball coach again, and he's right. You know, so many of us make erroneous assumptions, and then we start believing them, and guess what? Then they control our actions. Oh my gosh. Something happened to me that I want to share with you. I have a client named Bob, and I knew he could help my neighbor. And so I wanted to make an introduction. Bob was pleased about that, and I said I would set up a meeting for the two of them to get together. Bob was over here, and when I asked him, what should I tell my neighbor? He's going, oh, you've known me for so many years, Jeannie, you know exactly what to say. And I'm sweating it out. You know, I've become very reluctant to go talk to my neighbor, and I just couldn't understand it because Bob is experienced. He's got a stellar record. He was perfect. And yet I don't want to go talk to my neighbor. I finally discovered I didn't know what to say. I didn't have any way of introducing it. So there was no clear story to tell. And that's kind of the power of illusions, because I knew Bob's advantages, but I didn't have a story. And so it was very unclear, and I felt like I was going to have to give the commercial. On the other hand, I had another client named Paul, and he sparked my interest with a very compelling story about how he helped a client. It was really a fun story, and I was excited about it. But Paul, although he was experienced, probably didn't have the same track record of Bob, but he did have an interesting story. And you know what? I became a loudmouth. I started telling Paul's story just spontaneously and interested 3 people in talking to Paul without really thinking about it. It was amazing. For Bob, the question he should have been saying was, am I making some assumptions that I shouldn't have been making? That's a very important thing to consider. In fact, I'd like to say to you, are you making assumptions you shouldn't be making? Because that's what happened. You see, when you do that, you shoot yourself in the foot. That's right, Bob. If you think they know, you don't coach them. So what could you do differently? You coach them covertly, low-key, then they discover how they could be a help and find a referral for you. Yes, it may be a big aha, and you realize that you've been stifling your own growth. So let's look at that. The difference was Bob assumed erroneously, but Paul coached effectively, and I became a loudmouth. Amazing, isn't it? That's where the power is in the coaching. You see, I knew all the benefits, but I had no opening and no transition when I was talking about Bob. On the other hand, I didn't need an opening or a transition because the story was so interesting, and I just started telling it spontaneously. So the whole thing boils down to coaching your clients, your centers of influence and friends to recommend you powerfully. So now, Mr. Baseball Coach, the choice is up to you. You can hold on to your assumptions, or you can start coaching referral sources so they become a loudmouth on your prospecting team.
Well, hopefully you're not like Bob, just assuming something and charging down the path with that erroneous assumption. You see, when you coach other people, it makes a huge difference in the results. creating a continuing inflow of high quality referrals, lucrative prospects. It's amazing. So you must click on the link right now, get all the deliverables, and then register right away, because Referrals for Profit really will revolutionize your prospecting. You'll get rid of all those illusions, and then we'll get into one little lesson. Go out and practice it. Only takes about 17 minutes a week. Then you'll learn another little bitty piece. Go out and practice it. That's why it works. No assumptions, no illusions, and one little tweak each week for 8 weeks, and you'll be well on your way to Referrals for Profit. So sign up now.